What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be taking a look at how stealth works in Helldivers 2. Stealth is 80% line of sight and 20% noise in this game. Visually, enemies can detect you from a pretty good distance depending on your character's posture. Standing, they can detect you from about 45 meters out. Crouching brings it down to about 35-ish meters, and prone brings it down even further to about 20 meters. Wearing armor that has the Scout passive will bring down detection ranges across the board by 30%, which is a pretty big deal. Interestingly enough, every enemy has the same detection range, with the single exception of the Stalkers, or the Mantises, as we call them. These guys can find you no matter what. Even without the Mantis, I think the bugs are a little bit harder to sneak against, just because they have so many units that are small and close to the ground, and that makes them really hard to see on some maps. We talked a little bit about the visual, now let's talk about the noise portion of stealth. The enemies in this game have terrible hearing. You can crawl right up to pretty much any enemy in the game as long as they aren't looking in your direction. However, if you crouch, climb, or stand within 5 to 10 meters of an enemy, there's a pretty good chance they're going to investigate. You can pick off isolated enemies as long as they aren't within line of sight of others. Oftentimes, the others will hear the shot and they'll come to investigate, but if you shoot, then quickly hide, you can usually remain hidden. As far as calling in stratagems goes, blue and yellow stratagems will not immediately alert the enemy, but will cause them to investigate. With red stratagems like airstrikes and orbitals, sometimes you can call them in and have the enemy not know where you are, but it's a little inconsistent. When you need to disengage from the enemy, you do have access to smoke screens in the form of stratagems and grenades, but honestly, I don't think it's worth it to bring either. Your best bet is usually just to put a good amount of distance between you and the enemy while breaking line of sight. Another thing to make note of is if you have some enemies coming after you and then you run into a patrol that makes contact with those enemies, the patrol will start attacking you too, even without seeing you. Like, they'll get sucked into the conflict. And that's a wrap on our quick guide to stealth in Helldivers 2. What kind of stealth options do you think should be added? Do you want to see silencers or takedowns? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And, of course, if you found this guide helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more Helldivers 2 content. Until next time, stay stealthy.